Sneeuwern narik dien, waterang actinuk, Mockberry and waterang bagaruk, Monomath mirabea, Nilinga waterang bake, Karingarapo, Bunjo the Eagle, Wa the Crow, Kimbani Ba, Deanne Gilson. Welcome to Waterang Country.
Live from Waterang Country, welcome to Lance TV. Coming to you from the palatial new Camp Street Studios in Ballarat, get ready to laugh, think, love and sparkle. And now, it's time to turn that camp dial all the way up to fabulous. Here's your host, the multi-award-winning Lance-tastic, Lance DePoyle.
Welcome to Let's TV. I'm Lance DePoyle. I was just making sure my fly was done up. We are watching us coming to you live from Waterang Country here in Ballarat, the resting place of Bunjil the Eagle. Please pull up a drink and drink your first seat. You are going to be on us for the next hour, and we hope that you enjoy that. With nothing more to be said, pull up a seat, let's go. I'm telling you, between you and I've had a very intense week. On Monday, I was at the dentist and had an extraction from a molar at the back, which, you know, by Tuesday, I'd forgotten I'd actually been to the dentist. So I have a wonderful dentist, and hello to Dr. Christine. Should you be watching, I won't advertise the area. Suffice to say that they are a dentist on Lydiard Street here in Ballarat. And yeah, quite an amazing dentist. So thank you for that. On Wednesday, I was in Melbourne with some other Ballaratians as part of the LGBTIQA+ Safety Summit. That was an all-dayer, and it was quite an experience, and so many wonderful people. And Greer from Bent TV, if you're watching, it was so lovely to see you. What else has happened this week? Oh, I know. Tickets go on sale tomorrow for the Festival of Australian Queer Theatre. Can we bring up the slide for the website, please, Sophie? So there we are. Tickets go on sale tomorrow at noon. We have so many wonderful acts we've got, what is it? Thanks, Sophie. We have, there are 11 events over 4 days in 3 venues. And the timing couldn't be any better. The second issue of Q News came out today, and there is a whole story in there with the lovely, there's Dax in the photo, and the insert photo there, that's Dr. Robert Reid, who is actually the festival's artistic director. So if you'd like to read a little bit more, you can head over to Q News. I think it's www.qnews, I don't know where to go from there. Magazines, and you'll find the second edition of the Victorian publication there, courtesy of the editor, Dina Curie. So there's all that wonderful stuff there. That's been my week. But there is more wonderful things to come. And the wonderful thing comes in the shape of tonight's guest. Our guest tonight has come all the way from Ballarat to be in the studio tonight. We would like you to raise your glasses, be outstanding, and do a big round of applause for our special guest tonight, Ellen Burns.
Darling, hello.
Oh, mwah, mwah. Were you going to sneak into Queen's Way?
I thought about it.
Yeah, I think you should. Please, sit down.
Thank
Who
you.
are you wearing, darling?
Op shop, obviously.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Repurposed?
Yep. Always.
Fantastic.
Always. Apart from the docs.
Nails and dress match.
Yep.
There you go. Your camera's just there.
I went to Trouble tonight. I made an effort. I don't usually paint my nails for just anyone.
And I love the sparkles as well.
Thank you.
That was a very well thought out one.
Thank you. I do feel like I, blend in a bit with the furniture.
Fantastic. Who are you calling furniture? Fantastic. Now, darling, Ellen Burns, you are best known probably in Ballarat, possibly for the Hidden Orchard.
Yeah, possibly. Most people, I think, have heard of the Hidden Orchard, even if they don't know that I'm the one behind it. We're a volunteer group that harvest unwanted fruit from the community, backyards and public land, and even the cemeteries and places like that, and redistribute it across the community through food relief charities.
Amazing. Well, we're going to learn more about that later. But you're also running for local council, local government this year.
I am, yes, for the new Brown Hill ward. So all the boundaries and the whole system's changed this year, but I'm running for the new Brown Hill ward, which is very much my area of Ballarat, so I'm quite excited about that.
I can see the twinkle in your eye too. You're like, this is great. This is such a good idea, running for politics.
Yeah, I think quite a few people think I'm crazy, a bit of glutton for punishment, but, you know, somebody's got to do it.
Well, you know, if you want a job done and you want it done properly,
Exactly.
do it yourself.
Exactly.
Hey, we have a wonderful pre-recorded segment which we play at this point. Dr. Sophie goes to great lengths to reach out to wonderful local artists and artists outside of the Ballarat area. Tonight, our special guest is our very own Xander Savage, who I had a T-shirt. I'll see if I got the T-shirt. I pulled out a T-shirt a few weeks ago. It was purple and it was no turf club or something along that line. It was great. It was really cool. So without further ado, we will go to the Lance TV Artist Corner with Xander Savage, and we'll see you right after the break.
My name is Xander, my pronouns are they, them, and I do a bit of everything, I guess. I got married quite young, had 3 kids, left that relationship because it was quite unhealthy, and came out, and then I've just been on this journey of self-discovery through my art. My divorce and leaving that particular relationship, I wasn't allowed to do my own art a lot of the time. If I had my own projects, my ex either wanted to be part of those or wanted me working on his projects. So I kind of just gave up doing those things because they didn't bring me any joy. So really learning since leaving that to be able to find my passion in art again and find my own voice in my art. Yeah, so I started off just drawing with ink and fine liners and things, and due to space issues and not having storage space for things, I moved on to digital. So I've been doing a lot of art on the iPad. I've done a couple of little joint exhibitions. I'm part of a joint exhibition coming up, but it's an owl themed one, so all of the artworks will be owls and owl inspired pieces, so that's fun. Yeah, it's just I like birds, so I also just for fun, I haven't really done anything with it, but I go and just do bird spotting and bird photography because it's good to get outside. I've done stuff for the Frolic exhibition over the last couple of years, which has been really good. I got the Director's Choice Award this year for that with my art piece Maneater. I guess going into my own feeling towards transition and where I feel in the space of having a feminine body but presenting sort of more masculine, sort of situated in that kind of headspace. So yeah, just sort of dabbling bits and pieces like that. It's really sort of my de-stressor from work because I work in the emergency department, so it's quite hectic, and so I am able to use my art as a time to kind of just de-stress and use the time to do something that I enjoy. Well, so yeah, it's digital drawing. It's pretty much I just use all of the same drawing skills that I would normally use if I draw on paper, but I do it on the iPad. And that's sort of developed into creating apparel, so t-shirts and jumpers and things like that. Yeah, it was sort of something I toyed with, and then a few people had sort of mentioned, oh, I'd love this on a t-shirt, or I'd love this on a jumper, and I thought, oh, well, let's see how that would work. And then talking to sort of Anne from Tiny Pride, who uses fourth wall as a means for creating their apparel through there, I thought I'll give it a go through that, and that's sort of what started it all. I have a beanie that's got like gender bender on it. Yeah, just lots of fun little slogans like that. I've got some new things coming out very soon, so that's exciting. I also have a hoodie and a t-shirt that has Anti-Turf Club on it, which is fun. Just a couple more limited edition designs will be hitting my website hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I've made a piece that's like, I can't believe it's not binary, which is based on like the I can't believe it's not butter thing, and it's like a butter container. So yeah, that'll be coming up soon. Just draw, like you don't even just draw for you, like you don't need to be creating anything for anyone or anything in particular, but you know, if it's something that you enjoy, don't let anyone sort of take that away from you. I wasted so many years not doing the things that I really wanted to do for the benefit of someone else, and you know, my art's progressed such a long way in the last couple of years, and yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like, don't worry about if you feel like you can't draw, or if you feel like, you know, you don't have the skills, just do what you need to, like you'll get better.
There we go. Xander Savage. Now, it just works out that we have one of Xander's t-shirts here. Have a look at that.
Beautiful. Anti-turf club. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone deserves one of those. Nice quality t-shirt.
It is. It's a Gildan.
Oh.
That's good quality.
Is it?
Yeah.
You'd know.
Gildan and AS Colour, they're the best.
Really?
Yeah, you can't go anywhere else, yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, so that's some of Xander's work there, and I like the whole anti-turf club. I'm waiting for Wear It Purple Day to wear it.
Yeah, perfect.
That's why I'd specifically got a purple one for it. You are actually an artist too, aren't you? Historically.
Yes, historically I have been an artist, yes. I have a double degree in arts and visual arts, majoring in painting and English literature. Both seem very completely unrelated to what I do at the moment. But
sure. And English lit.
Yeah.
What's that all about? A journey down
I just like
old
writing,
English books?
which I guess writing is useful in any circumstance. So
String a sentence together.
yeah, you know, social media posts, bit of content, you know, a
That's
grant,
what CBG
a
chat's
grant
all about.
application.
No, you just do it all with chatbots now.
Oh yeah, true. This is pre-AI.
While I think of it too, if you're watching us on Lance TV Ballarat on Facebook, drop a little something something in the thread, and I will ask that something something on your behalf to our wonderful guest tonight, Alan Burns. English lit. So every time I hear people say English lit, I just sort of go, what? So you read Jane Austen, like?
Well, I did quite a few different units. One was I did a fantasy unit. That was pretty fun. Just reading all sorts of different fantasy books. I did a poetry unit. I did a travel writing unit. Just all sorts of stuff.
Gosh.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is just string a sentence together and you pass.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
I actually studied drawing at uni as part of my visual arts degree, which was probably my highest scoring.
Welcome back. You're watching Let's TV. I am Lance de Boyle, and I'm still here with the lovely Ellen Burns.
Still here.
Yeah, great. This is the point of the show where we commence the interview. Are you ready? Can we go ahead?
Yeah, I think we proceed.
That's consent. Here we go. Ellen Burns. We talked about this at the top of the show. You know exactly the question I'm going to ask because we've been asking this question for 7 years of each and every one of our guests. Where were you born?
I was born at the Ballarat Base Hospital, which is either an interesting answer or a very boring answer, depending on how you look at it.
So Ballarat, born and bred?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep, absolutely. I did the classic Ballarat thing of move to Melbourne for uni, live there for a few years and then move back. But yeah, born in Ballarat, grew up in Warren Heap, on the Melbourne edge of town on a quarter-acre block, and had a reasonably idyllic childhood, you know, fruit trees and a dam and chickens and veggie patch and a goat.
You had a dam. Did you have yabbies in that dam?
Not in that dam, no. We have yabbies in my current dam.
Heaven.
Yeah.
I haven't had yabby for years.
That's why our dog is afraid of the dam, because
Yeah,
I
right.
think sometimes he gets nipped.
Yeah, right. So Warren Heap, which is, you know, just the outskirts of Ballarat as you head out to Melbourne.
Yep.
Is it that way? Yeah.
Yep.
Quarter-acre block. You spoke about fruit trees and whatnot. Talk to us more about, like, how many children are in your family, or how many brothers and sisters or siblings are there?
I grew up with one brother.
Yeah.
I've got a brother that's 3 years older than me. And then things have gotten a little more complicated since then. My mum remarried and my stepdad has a daughter and 4 sons. So I have 4 stepbrothers and a stepsister. And then my dad had another baby, different mother, when I was 23. So I've got a younger sister who's 23 years younger than me.
Wow.
And then she has twin brothers.
Amazing.
So
Amazing.
I kind of have,
Here's a story of a lovely lady.
1 or 15 siblings, or however many it is, depending on
But
how you look
back
at
then,
it.
just as yourself and your
And my brother Tom, yeah.
On quarter of an acre block, which is, you don't see quarter of an acre very often anymore.
No, not anymore. Probably still in Warren Heap. I think Warren Heap is hasn't been overdeveloped yet. Actually, a quarter acre was quite small for Warren Heap. It's along the main road, obviously. Very, very busy street. It had the primary school on it and probably 10 houses. So that was as dense as Warren Heap got.
Amazing. And on that quarter of an acre block, like your family were just like, we are going to use this ground to grow things for us to eat and make us bigger and stronger and healthier.
Yeah, it was all the available space was pretty much spoken for. My dad got into permaculture when he was 17, and David Holmgren came and spoke to, what was it called at the time? East High. It's now Woodman's Hill.
Yeah, right.
But back when my dad went there, it was East High, and David was on one of his initial tours of permaculture back in the 70s, and made a real impression on Dad. So he's kind of been into it since forever.
So your dad was also born in Ballarat?
Yes, yeah.
And your mum?
My mum was born in the UK, actually.
Oh, so she was a ring-in?
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
So,
Yes.
but yeah, so your dad's born and bred.
Yep.
So how many generation Ballarat are you?
5th generation, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, like 1850s.
Gosh.
Lau settled in Lau originally. And then, we've been here a while.
Wow. Oh, well, there's a question we didn't ask at the time before we got on air. That's really interesting. It's that generational Ballaratian family is you know, I haven't met too many of them.
Yeah, there's a few of us around. I guess I've got the funny thing of having a mum from overseas and a dad that's very entrenched in Ballarat kind of thing. So I feel like I've got the best of both worlds.
Yeah, right. So quarter acre block, trees, fruit trees, food. You are also a little bit besotted by a cartoon show called Captain Planet.
Captain Planet.
What was Captain Planet all about?
100%. Do you know Captain Planet?
No.
You don't know Captain Planet? That's wild. That's so wild. It was a show about a superhero that wanted to save the planet, basically. It was like a eco-warrior kind of thing. But to call the superhero, there was 5 kids from all around the globe, and they put their rings together and called forth the superhero. So it was kind of a like, the power is yours.
I've been in places where people have put 5 rings together and the power was shared, really, but that's a different night at the Laird. I couldn't help it. It was like there's a joke there to be had and I was going to have it. So Captain Planet, so you took a real shine to Captain Planet.
Yeah, definitely. I think when I grew up in the 90s, there was a real focus on waste and pollution and recycling and that kind of thing. So, you know, people ask me often how I got into sustainability or environmentalism, and it's just kind of always been there. It's always been a focus, and I've, you know, always cared about nature and animals and plants and that kind of thing, and it seems fairly obvious that we would want to look after the world that we live in and depend on.
Well, in an ideal sense,
yeah.
As long as you're not a neoliberalist. But that then takes me to a question that's kind of like looking at consumerism and waste. Over your kind of journey through life, have you sort of seen much change with people's level of consumption and increased levels of waste, food waste?
Yeah, it's been a kind of a funny thing to watch progress, because I feel like consumption is worse than ever, and yet we talk more than ever about the need to look after the environment and kind of be conscious of consumption and things like that. So it's kind of weird to see that juxtaposition where we're very conscious of waste in a way, but also just it's such a normal part of our lives now that it's kind of, we've lost all perspective on it, I think.
Yeah, well, and it's hard too. I mean, sort of, I know my practice is I will go to the shop every other day, so I'll get a little bit, and you know, like bananas, it's like I'll get a ripe banana, a semi-ripe banana, and a couple of green bananas, just so I can kind of move through over a couple of days to have, you know, something fresh, and it's not all going to ripen at once. So, because I don't make banana bread. No, I do not do banana bread.
Not a banana bread
I
person.
love banana bread, but I don't make it. But to try and reduce wastage at our house, it's kind of like, yeah, a little bit here, a little bit there. But I mean, not everyone can do that either.
And I think people have very different ways of approaching it. You know, there are some people that would do the opposite and shop once a month and then meal prep and meal plan and, you know, freeze all the meals and that kind of thing. So I think partly it's finding what works for you and not being delusional about, you know, buying food that you don't actually like or you're not actually going to eat. Not being aspirational and buying the salad greens even though you never eat salad, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is that thing too. It's kind of like, I think sometimes our bellies are bigger than our eyes. So when we're in the supermarket, it's kind of like, I mean, classic example, I bought a bag of oranges last week and I've been trying to keep them in the coolest part of the house because they all won't fit in the fridge. So it's like trying to eat a few oranges every few days because it's like, they're not going to last forever.
No.
Because we're not a big house and I really didn't need the bag of oranges.
Yeah.
But it was a good price, you know.
Good deal, yeah. And then if you end up throwing half of them away, not a good deal.
Not a good deal.
Yeah.
Do you subscribe to trying to take your own containers to places, like where you can, like instead of like plastic bags and stuff? Are you one of those people who go, I'm going to take my jars and I'll get half a kilo of pine nuts and like, do you do that sort of stuff?
Not really that. I always have my reusable drink bottle on me at all times.
No brand?
No brand. No brand.
But it's green. No.
It is green. And I always have my, you know, my foldable bags in my bag and things like that. I do try and buy things mainly that are in cardboard boxes or paper bags or things like that. But I also don't stress about it too much because I think we can get really anxious about the details without seeing the bigger picture. And I ran a zero waste snack business for 10 years and I kind of saw what's behind that. So my packaging was zero waste and I approached a bulk Whole Foods shop about stocking it and they didn't want to stock it packaged. And I said, well, it's plant-based packaging, it's home compostable, first in Victoria, that's kind of, you know, that's the talking point. That's the way to sell it. And they said, oh no, we'll only buy it from you if it's unpackaged. And I said, well, I'd have to kind of use plastic dividers or Glad wrap or something like that to post it to you. And they said, oh yeah, that's fine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right.
As long as it was unpackaged on the shelf. So I think, you know, if you go into the supermarket
So
and
it
you're
was
stressing
optics.
about...
They were chasing optics.
Yeah, like the buying something in a plastic packet at the supermarket versus paying 5 times the price, you know, at one of the fancy bulk food stores, you're not actually saving plastic necessarily. Sorry to break it to everybody. But there's a whole bunch of plastic that goes on behind the scenes. So I think, you know, do what you can, but don't stress about it too much. Yeah.
That's amazing. We need to go for a short ad break right now. But when we come back, we're going to have some more chit-chat excitement with Ellen Burns, and we'll be back right after this. I am just checking the thread here to see what is happening in the thread. We know there are 6 people watching, but no one's saying anything.
No questions for me.
No questions for Erin Burns.
I can see likes coming up.
Yeah, lots of likes, lots of hearts. That's all right.
No questions.
No questions. But it is, I mean, just going back to the consumption and waste, like even the whole thing about fruit that doesn't look cosmetically good for supermarkets, it's kind of like plough it, like get rid of it. Like it's still going to taste the same, it just doesn't look pretty.
Yep. It's something like 30% of the food that we grow is wasted.
Gosh.
Yeah. And then with the hidden orchard, like that's not even in those stats.
Don't get too ahead of us. Don't get too ahead of us.
That's not recorded anyway.
Need to save certain things for the show.
The segment.
But yeah, but it is that thing too. It's like I'm sure I was driving away from IGA the other day, and it was late in the day, and there was this person who was hanging around the skip bins, and I thought, I wonder if you're going to go for a dumpster dive.
Yep.
You know, and if you are, great.
And why not? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like,
Yeah.
but it was. I hadn't noticed anyone doing it locally before. I was like, okay. Just drove away. It's like, you know, you do you.
I think most of our local supermarkets, or some of them anyway, are pretty good at actually donating before putting them in the skip. Because I know a lot of local food relief agencies go and pick up, like they separate the stuff that they are going to throw out and then people go and pick it up before it actually gets in the bin. I know there's a lot of that happening, but that's depending on the store manager, you know, the particular person. A lot of these things come down to like one person and whether they care and want to do anything about it.
Yeah, and you're right. It's kind of like, you know, supermarket A might do really good things, and supermarket B, who's part of the same chain, is going to go, nah, boo, we're not doing that.
Or a manager that has systems set up, moves on, and somebody else moves in and goes, no, chuck it all in the bin.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Welcome back. I'm Let's Boil. You're watching Lads TV. And we're here with Ellen Burns. I keep trying to call you something. My mouth keeps wanting to call you something, Erin, or it's like, no, it's Ellen. Like we'll do the crazy dance over the table even, just so I remember. You, as I said as we discussed at the top of the show, you're probably best known in Ballarat for the Hidden Orchard. Do you want to tell us what the Hidden Orchard is? You've kind of alluded to it, but what is the Hidden Orchard?
So it's a volunteer group. We go out and we harvest fruit that people don't want, often from their backyards, but also from public land or private land, and redistribute it. So we work in thirds, so a third goes to the tree owner if they want it, they usually don't. A third goes to the volunteers that harvest the fruit on the day, and then a third goes to food relief charity. And we've done harvests of 450 kilos of fruit in an hour before.
Right.
So sometimes volunteers, your share can be, 10 kilos of something. So unless you're really into preserving or jam making, often people don't even take their full share. They'll say, just give me a handful. Or especially coming out of COVID, we actually had a lot of people coming just for the social aspect of it. And sometimes people would say, I don't need to take home anything. So often more like 75% of what we harvest goes to food relief charity.
Amazing. That's really amazing. And you've only been going 7 years. You were saying before we got on tonight that 2017, there was a growing season where everyone just went, hey, let's go and do this. Like, how did the thought come to be, actually? That's what I want to know.
It came out of a Ballarat Local Food Forum that was run just by a local resident, Alex Bailey, who organised it and just invited all these stakeholders, and the morning was kind of lightning talks, all these different people that had just say 10, 15 minutes to kind of talk about what they do. And Ingrid from Growing Abundance in Castlemaine came and told us about Growing Abundance, which is basically what we modelled the Hidden Orchard off. And then in the afternoon, it was kind of like, okay, let's go to breakout rooms and work on ideas that you've had for projects that you want to get started. So I don't know of any other projects that came out of that day. There may be some, but I think about 12 of us went into a room to talk about starting up a fruit harvesting charity in Ballarat, and 4 of us committed properly to making it happen. And that was mid-February 2017. So mid-February is like height of fruit season in Ballarat. You've got stone fruit still ripe, you've got apples and pears ripe. So we went straight into it, really gung-ho, like driving around. One of our founding members, Chris, lived in Clunes, and she was driving into Ballarat and just seeing fruit drop on the ground and just, giving out flyers or business cards. It was pretty nuts. Like, we really dived in the deep end.
How did you get the groundswell though? Like, it's one thing having an idea. It's another thing having a really good idea.
Yeah.
It's another thing getting people on the receiving end of that to go, this is a good idea.
Yeah.
But how did you get all these other people to go, I want to come and pick fruit? How did you do that?
I think it's grown a lot over the last 7 years. So that first year, it was really like the 4 of us, the 4 founding members, doing a lot of the work. And we started a Facebook group, and we got, a few more volunteers coming on. But it was so crazy that we're like, okay, we need to kind of sort ourselves out a bit. And so towards the end of that year, we did a call out for more committee members. And then I had the idea to split Ballarat into kind of areas and have a harvest leader for each area. So we did a lot of work getting the systems down and the processes down, and made it really easy to volunteer for us as well, which we now have, I think it's close to 450 general volunteers on our list. It's quite a lot. There's less harvest leaders and committee members. They're kind of the more involved roles, I guess, and we're always looking for more harvest leaders because they're really the bottleneck of organising the harvests. But it's so easy and fun to be a general volunteer for us that we have so many, because it's really, you choose what suits you. The harvest leader will organise a harvest and we'll send out an email that says, peach harvest in Brown Hill, and even without opening the email, you kind of know whether you're interested or not. And then we always keep harvests to an hour. So if it's a big pick, we'll just have more volunteers. So it's just a really manageable kind of
hands make
commitment.
light work.
Yeah. So
Amazing.
we've just kind of tried to make it really easy and fun to be involved with us, basically.
Amazing. And the Hidden Orchard is also connected with the Ballarat Permaculture Guild, is it?
Yes, yeah.
Talk to us about that, because you're involved with them as well, aren't you?
Yes, I am a special member on the Ballarat Permaculture
That's
Guild.
because you're a special person.
Committee as the president of the Hidden Orchard. And when I first joined that committee, I thought, okay, I'm not going to take on any more action items because, you know, the Hidden Orchard is my action item, and, you know, look how that went. I now help run the Permaculture Design Course.
Yeah,
and
never say never,
running
right?
the intro to permaculture in 2 weeks, and, you know, it's just, I find it hard not to get involved with good stuff. But BPG auspice the Hidden Orchard, so they act as our kind of parent umbrella. So we go through their insurance and kind of all of that legal stuff, which when we started up, we just wanted to do the thing.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't want to faff around
Jumping
with the
through
bureaucracy and, yeah, all that kind of like governance
Bureaucracy.
stuff.
We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah, so BPG kind of took care of all of that and let us just do our thing and support us in what we do.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And the beauty of what you're doing as well, you recently got news through the City of Ballarat that Hidden Orchard has now got a partnership with council over the next 3 years.
Yeah, so we were successful in the City Partnerships grant, which is pretty huge. It's $107,593 or something like that. $107,000 and another $500 or $600.
And some change.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Which is huge. That's such a huge amount of money, and it will just really...
So what are you going to do with it? Everyone to Ibiza, get on the plane. No. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah, well, it's a lot of people have been asking, you know, what does the Hidden Orchard need money for? Because we do all our stuff volunteer, and it's really grassroots. But this is a project that we've kind of been working on behind the scenes for 2 years, which is to build a community orchard. So it's not just going to be a bunch of fruit trees in the ground. It's going to be actually a full netted anti-aviary structure. So all the fruit will be protected from the birds. Sorry, birds, but they do get enough of our fruit.
They do. Cheeky things they are.
And we're also going to build a storage shed, so for our equipment. It's going to have a cool store for fruit. It's going to be a home for the library, because Ballarat Permaculture Guild have about 500 books, but they've never had a physical location for their library, so it's just at a committee member's house at the moment. So if you want to borrow a book, you've got to, you know, coordinate it with them. And just a meeting place and a physical kind of location to be our home, which Ballarat Permaculture Guild's been around for decades, and they've never had a kind of a hub, a physical location. So I think it's going to make a huge difference to both of our organisations, but also just the community. So the area that we've kind of earmarked, we actually don't have the lease yet because we're waiting on Vic Track along the train line, but it will be next to the Ballarat Community Garden in Dyke Parade, and we also have a relationship with the Uniting on the corner of Dyke Parade and Queen Street. We prune their fruit trees. They've got a community garden out the back, so we're kind of trying to make that whole area a real hub for food security in Ballarat.
That's amazing. Well done. Congratulations. And it's I mean, it's one thing to have a community garden, but what you're talking about with this orchard idea is kind of like a community garden that's had, you know, like years of sea salt put on it, like all organic matter, and it's all just growing. Like that's incredible, like for the Ballarat community.
Yeah.
Because part of what we talked about too before the show was food insecurity as well.
Yeah, which is such a massive issue in Ballarat, and people really don't realise, partly because people don't talk about it. It's got a lot of stigma and shame around it. And I have to say, I didn't realise how big the problem was until we started the Hidden Orchard. Because when we started, it was much more focused around waste and waste prevention and sustainability and, all that good stuff. But when we started delivering to all the food relief agencies in Ballarat and talking to them, it was really eye-opening of like, oh, hang on, how many people are you serving a day? And, you know, it's just a massive issue. Monash did a study in 2016, so the year before we started the Hidden Orchard, that 12% of Ballarat residents were accessing food relief that year.
Oh gosh.
And then over COVID, that doubled. So
Wow,
we're talking
like a quarter
a
of
quarter of
Ballarat.
Ballarat residents, and that's just the people that are actually going to that step of accessing food relief, which a lot of people don't.
Yeah,
A lot of
right.
people just skip a meal, you know, or feed their kids and don't feed themselves,
Yeah.
and never reach out for help. So the numbers are actually a lot higher than that, which is quite alarming.
Yeah, and not knowing actually how much bigger is the alarming part.
Yeah.
Knowing that it's there
Yeah.
is one thing, but not knowing how much is quite spooky.
Yeah.
We need to go for another ad break.
Okay.
When we come back, we will have some more in-depth conversation with our wonderful guest tonight, Ellen Burns, and we'll be back right after this. We do. Hello, Facebook. How are you? Hayden Young is in the thread. Hayden is saying, very impressed with your summary of consumption and waste situation, Ellen, because across developed nations, most of whom produce an insane amount of waste. Also, I have the same banana buying strategy, Lance. LOL, well done. I don't think it's that hard to minimise waste. I think it is, and as you said, like it can be and it can't be. It depends on how you go about things. Thank you, Hayden, for your comments. If anybody else got anything, drop it in the thread. Yeah, it is a matter of knowing yourself well enough and knowing your own to sort of go, this is what we need. Because like I grew up in, I don't know about anybody else, but there used to be a place called Half Case Warehouse, and you would buy like cases of stuff because it was cheap, and it was on pallets, and you know it was like you'd hoard, like you'd hoard all this stuff back to your house, and you'd be drinking like UTH milk for years. But you know nowadays it's kind of like, have we actually made a transition from fresh, proper, real food to tinned and frozen? Not that frozen's that bad, but tin has a lot of salt and sort of numbers, and it's a lot of numbers in packaged food.
Yeah, and it is kind of a toss-up, isn't it? Because you can get, you know, frozen veg that are snap frozen as soon as they're picked. So a lot of frozen veg is actually like higher nutritional content and possibly like lower carbon emissions than the fresh stuff, because often the fresh stuff's been stored and transported in cold transport and things like that. So it gets, if you want to get down to a detailed level, it kind of gets really complicated, which is why I kind of encourage people not to stress about it too much. Like there are more important things, like not wasting the food that you buy is 100% number one, because if you throw something in the bin, then 100% of that was all the emissions and the waste and the plastic and whatever. There's been no use out of it. So I think that's why I focus on waste rather than, you know, being vegan or whatever. I think if you can just buy local.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
We have liftoff. That's right. We're lifting off in the third part of the three-part interview with the lovely Ellen Burns, and you're watching Let's TV. Ellen.
Hi.
Oh, what are you insinuating? We have moved through your life quite elegantly, I think. It's you know, growing up, like being fifth generation Ballarat and growing up, eating good food from the get-go, spending a lot of time, more recently, over recent years, helping with food sustainability, with people in your own community. You do have a very strong community leading, so much so that you're actually falling into the bureaucracy I laughed at just earlier in the last part of the segment, and you're going for a potential turn around the backyard with putting your hand up for local council. Why?
That's a fair question. It is a fair question. It's been something that I've been thinking about for quite a few years. Because I run my own business and I run a volunteer group, I started getting invited to a lot of the council's kind of community engagement stuff. And that was kind of my first glimpse into what council actually does. I think a lot of the time we're very disengaged with like, what does council actually do? And it's a lot more than roads, rates and rubbish. And I saw that my feedback was actually making a difference in, you know, in those kind of, like I was part of the food strategy and Brown Hill local area plan, and I kind of saw outcomes from that, and I thought, well, you know, how much impact could I have if I was actually one of the councillors and on council? So I had been thinking about it for a couple of years, and then somebody kind of tapped me on the shoulder prior to the 2020 election and asked me if I'd ever thought about it, and said, yeah, well, actually, I've been thinking about it for...
Is that person the same person who tapped you on the shoulder and said, Greens, let's go Greens?
Yes, it is.
So it's right, we can say Belinda Coates. We love Councillor Coates. Hello, Belinda, if you're watching.
Hi, Belinda. Yeah, Belinda is a massive inspiration. I've just seen, she's everywhere. She's so active. She's so active in the community. She just started popping up everywhere. And I've always voted Greens. You know, my family does have mixed voting habits, but my dad is very, he founded the Ballarat Greens branch, actually.
That's exciting.
Quite a few years ago. So that's kind of something that I've always grown up with as well. And I think it was just after my 18th or 21st, it would have been my first federal election that I was voting in. And literally the next morning after my 21st birthday, and I had green triangle cupcakes at my party and Greens pamphlets. I wasn't a member of I didn't join the Greens as a member until I ran for council. But I've always been very supportive, and that federal election I walked into the polling booth at 9 a.m, not having gone to bed or slept, still in my party dress and my high heels, just very keen to vote. And then Tony Abbott got elected, so, you know. Somehow that didn't put me off. That just made me more...
Got the fire in your belly going. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
That's hilarious. So with the council election coming up in October here in Ballarat, what sorts of... What are you running? What's your ticket? Like, what are you running on?
What's my platform?
Kissing babies or shaking babies and kissing, I don't know.
And potholes
and...
potholes.
What did you say?
Roads, rates and rubbish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, what's your... what flags are you flying?
Funnily enough, you know, they say roads, rates and rubbish. Well, rubbish is a huge focus for me. Obviously, like, waste is one of the things that I'm most passionate about, which seems so boring and kind of nerdy, but... I'm very into it. So yeah, all the waste kind of prevention kind of things. I was actually named one of Ballarat's circular economy champions in 2022.
Oh.
Thank you. Which was kind of an advisory group with council. So I've been talking to them about the waste processing facility that they've already earmarked land for in BWES. Just need state co-funding. State. Cool. So yeah, waste, food security, obviously, been working with a council officer to plant mini orchards in all of the reserves around Ballarat, as well as this massive orchard project in Ballarat East, which is in the ward that I'm running in, just so happens.
Just accidentally on purpose, maybe.
I was very excited when they released the ward boundaries, because Brown Hill just really is kind of my area of Ballarat. It includes Warren Heap, where I grew up. It includes Brown Hill, where my mum lives and I lived most of my life. Includes the future orchard site, and so I feel like there's a lot that I'm already doing around that area, and just being elected onto council would just give me so much more ability to do the things that I'm kind of already trying to do, I guess.
Is there anybody else running out there yet?
Not yet. No one else has put their hand up yet, which kind of feels a bit funny because October's not that far away. You know, we're in July now, so I'm kind of waiting.
3.5 months.
Yeah, but it's a postal election, so the ballots get sent out right the first week of October, even though the results don't get counted until the 26th. So kind of by the start of October, you should have done your main campaigning. So
done your song and dance.
Yeah. So I'm kind of waiting for people to come out of the woodwork. I'm sure somebody will. It would be almost an anticlimax to run unopposed. I'd be...
Careful what you ask for. That's all I've got to say. Careful what you ask for. I tell you, asking for things thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being had. It is lovely to hear more of your story. We've crossed paths in a number of places along the way, but I think this is probably the first real conversation we've had, really, isn't it? And without further ado, for being a guest on the show, I want to give you this tiny pride bag so you can add that to your shopping thing. And
Thank you.
This
How
famed
beautiful.
photo of me that says, I was on Let's TV. So that's for you.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I gave one to Dr.
That's
Rachel
beautiful.
Goff a few weeks ago, and that photo actually lives in their toilet. Not in the toilet itself, it's on the system. But
Well, we don't have a toilet yet because we're building our house
you had a
and
long
we haven't built the toilet. But when we do, that might
go
be
straight to the dunny.
straight to the pool room. Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks
right.
for having me.
Thanks for being had. Don't go anywhere. There's a little bit left, but we do need to go for a short break. And when we come back, we will be wrapping it up. So if you're watching us for going, hurry up, we need to get to Bent TV, not much longer. We'll see you after this. We hope you enjoyed our interview with Ellen Burns. If you'd like to find out more about Ellen, you can do that by going to www.hiddenorchard.org. Lands TV will be back right after this. That's hilarious. Do you want to tell that story again? It's about, so there's the framed
Sure
photo.
can. Here's a framed photo. When I ran for council the first time in 2020, the Greens sent me a photo of myself, a framed photo of myself in pretty much this exact frame with a little like, congratulations on your campaign. And I'm not about waste. I'm against waste, so I kept it and I put it on display. But everyone that came to our house for the next few weeks or months was kind of like, "Why do you have a framed photo of yourself up
Why
on the
not?
shelf?" I said, "It was a good photo."
Yeah, right? How very dare you. That's hilarious.
It is.
Do you think they did that for a laugh, or that's just what they do and they take it very seriously?
I don't know. And do you think they did that for literally every candidate?
That's a lot of paper.
It's a lot of frames.
A lot of plastic frames.
And postage. And I didn't even win. I almost got elected.
So you're hungry for power, and so you've already run at a state level.
Yeah, I ran for state in 2022.
What was that like? Because it's probably going to be a very different campaign.
Very
strategy.
different, yeah. I've run 2 campaigns so far. I ran for council in 2020, which was COVID. So no in-person events, no door knocking. It was all via Zoom. We had candidate forums via Zoom, which was kind of bizarre, but I'd never done a campaign before, so I didn't have anything to compare it to. And then I ran for state in 2022, and that was very different because it was out, a lot of events. It was, polling booths, so handing out the how to votes and shaking hands and that kind of thing, because, council election in Ballarat is all postal vote only, so no polling booths and handing out how to votes. And I was running against Juliana Addison and Samantha McIntosh.
Oh, yeah, right.
So, kind of well-seasoned campaigners and politicians, but, they're both nice to me. I'm not a very divisive person,
you won't work very well in politics at all if you're not
I
divisive.
don't go on the attack kind of thing.
No, that's not how you do politics. No, not at all. No.
I need to get more vicious, do you think?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not running against anyone.
Yes, welcome back. It's time for All Over the Shop on Lance TV. Tomorrow, Queer Bingo Karaoke by Dazza and Keith. That's down there at Brunswick. Nice to give a shout out to some Victorian drag kings. NAIDOC in the city at Federation Square on the 12th of July from 3 o'clock. NAIDOC week is the 7th to the 14th of July. 13th of July, which is next Saturday, is an introduction to permaculture. That's at the Uniting Care building in Ballarat East, and that starts at 10 a.m. The 14th of July, Maldon is having a winter market. 1 Church Street, Maldon. It's a beautiful little community, and I like that young person with the rainbow wig on just to the left. And on the 17th of July, there is an online event called A Guide to Country Policing. And there's 2 lovely police people waving across the road there. the 19th of July, Ballarat Creatives Coffee Catch-Up, and that's at the Centre for Rare Arts on Bradshaw Street here in Ballarat. On the 21st July, Fashions in Time Mannequin Parade and Devonshire Tea. It's at the Ballarat Mechanics Institute. The 26th of July, following on from the dark series for the beer, is the red series at the Mining Exchange. That's on the 26th of July from about 5 o'clock. Wurundjeri Story Time. This is an online event for 5 to 8 year olds. That's on the 26th of July at 9:30 through to about 5 to 10. On the 27th, which is a Saturday, is the Art and Craft Detached Market down there at Torquay, down on the coast. It's a beautiful place. 28th on the Sunday, GV Pride is having a tree planting crew happening for National Tree Day 2024. That's happening at Hawking Street in Shepparton. Pride Movie Night, Kinky Boots at the Swan Pool Community Centre. That's brought to you by Pride Hub, Lone Wangaratta and FRR. On the 6th of September, Bad Pet Portraits is on again, and it's Pets for the Homeless fundraising event. It's hilarious and a nice way to give. Yeah, little puppos and kitty cats and goldfish.
So cute.
I know. Let's talk a little bit about permaculture. We've bandied the word around a bit, but you know there might be some amongst us who don't actually know what permaculture is. What is permaculture? It's like perma, it sounds like permanent.
Yeah.
And culture sounds quite flash. What's permaculture?
I think originally it was permanent agriculture is what it's a portmanteau of. And originally it kind of started out very much as like a farming kind of technique. It was David Holmgren, who lives just in Hepburn, doing a very experimental university degree down in Tasmania where they basically said, do whatever you want. And some people did literally nothing, and then some people did groundbreaking research that turned into, you know, global movements decades later.
Wow, so technically permaculture came from not far from here.
Yeah, it's hyper local to us. A lot of the main permaculture kind of gurus are in Victoria, in Australia, even though it's a global kind of phenomenon.
What a gift to the world from Western Victoria to the world.
Exactly. It's good for us because a lot of the advice and, you know, the plants to plant and the animals to have are kind of work well in our area. So
yeah, right.
It does work well for us. But a lot of people think that it's a technique of gardening, like biodynamic or, you know, organic or that kind of thing. But it's not just gardening, it's a lifestyle, you know, which always sounds a bit...
I like the way you just took it up on yourself too. It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. No. But which is why it's kind of so hard to explain a lot of the time, because it's not one thing, it's kind of like a way of living. So it's, you know, it's lowering your consumption, lowering your waste, doing things in a sustainable way. I mean, it's another way of saying sustainability, really. But it appeals to a broad range of people. You get people from all over the spectrum. You get the raw vegan hippies, and you get the carnivore, you know, prepper, kind of build a bunker with the shotgun side of things as well. Interesting conversations to be had by everybody. Yeah, so it's nice because it's not exclusive. It's very inclusive.
It's an eclectic mix of
eclectic.
People.
It can cause
interesting conversations,
politics, and interesting conversations. But I think, you know, it's a value system. So hopefully it's something that people can bond over, even if they have completely different outcomes from the same input.
For me, because I was saying to you, I recently joined the Permaculture Guild. There's my $30. Let's go.
Yeah.
Because I want to know how to compost properly. Mm-hmm. I think the whole gift to everything else is knowing how to get your compost right.
Yep.
And everything would just take care of itself that way. That's kind of the impression I've got.
Compost is great. Yeah, compost is great. I'm actually running a composting workshop in September, Composting 101, so you might have to come along to that. That's
It'd be better weather too.
Smart Living Ballarat.
Fantastic. With all of that in mind, thank you so much for being on the show. You've been great. You've been so giving of yourself. All the best for the upcoming local election.
Thank you so much.
Yes. And next week we will have another fantastic guest. I knew who it was earlier today, but I've forgotten off the top of my head now. But that's neither here nor there, and no great big woohoo for Lance TV, because that's how we roll. So thank you so much for tuning in and taking this hour with us. And as you move through life over the next week, till I see you next time, be kind.
Thanks for watching Lance TV. We'll be back same time next week. Lance TV is made possible through funding from the Community Broadcasting Foundation. I'm voiceover guy Randall Smith. See you next time.